Welcome back to Secrets Behind the Stars, the cozy corner where our love for showbiz turns into the stories you can't stop talking about. I hope your day is glowing, because what we're about to dive into has lit up the entire Turkish entertainment scene. Picture this, two of the most watched faces on television, two people whose spark on screen has fueled endless whispers off it. Yes, we're talking about Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda. Today, we break down the moment that froze fandom timelines everywhere, Gökberk's open declaration of love for Cemre, and the way the world around them seemed to hold its breath. We're starting strong because that's how this story arrived, like thunder under a clear sky. You know how sometimes the boundary between fiction and life blurs? It felt like that, only louder, more undeniable, almost like a confession we'd all been waiting for but didn't dare predict the exact second it would drop. Gökberk, who brings Ferret to life in Yıldırım with that soulful, layered intensity, stepped forward with words nobody could mistake. Not a coy tease. Not a wink and nod post. A clear-hearted admission. And yes, it involved Cemre, the magnetic co-star whose on-screen dance with him has owned our attention since the very first episode. Before we get into every last ripple this has caused, a little housekeeping. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars. We chase the juiciest reveals with the care and context you deserve, we unpack every rumor without losing the romance of it all, and we do it together as a community that genuinely loves this world. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss what comes next, because with Gökberk and Cemre, the moments are coming fast. Now, how did the spark set the sky on fire? For a long time, Gökberk kept the doors to his personal life politely closed. He showed up, did the work, let the performances talk. Meanwhile, the closeness between him and Cemre on Yıldırım, where they embody Ceyran and Ferret, was impossible to ignore. The glances that seemed to say more than the script demanded, the rhythm in their scenes that felt too precise to be manufactured, the way they carried silence like dialogue. From the first table read, people said there was electricity. Then episodes aired, edits were clipped, and an entire fandom rallied around them. And then came the moment. Whether you caught it from a backstage interview, a red carpet stop, or the clip that went viral seconds after it was recorded, the essence was the same, no riddles, no spin. He spoke with that calm sincerity that makes you lean in and replay the words twice just to hear them land again. I'm in love with Cemre, is what everyone agrees he said, or something so close you can feel its edges. In an instant, timelines exploded. Fans who shipped Ceyran and Ferret. Yes, the surfer faithful, pulled reality and the series into the same heartbeat. What does it change? Let's start with the obvious, validation. For months, maybe longer, viewers have watched Yıldırım with the suspicion that what fluttered on screen had roots beyond the set. This confession says the feeling wasn't a mirage. And that transforms everything. How the audience engages with new episodes, how they rewatch the old ones, how each micro-expression in a scene suddenly feels like a breadcrumb drop for anyone paying attention. It's not just entertainment, it's a connection that becomes personal. It also frees them. Secrecy has a heavy cost. Hiding, dodging, smiling without confirming. It wears down even the strongest people. Now that the words are out there, Gökberk and Cemre can navigate with fewer masks. That ease often translates into better work, too. We may be on the verge of witnessing an even more intimate Ceyran and Ferret in Yıldırım, scenes breathing with an extra layer of trust. When performers don't have to pretend that the world can't see them, something beautiful often happens, they shine brighter. And the industry? It took exactly 5 minutes to react. When co-leads of a hit series confirm the emotion fans already sensed, the market leans in. Expect magazine covers, stylized shoots, brand offers, interview requests, and those glittering invitations that travel across borders. Gökberk and Cemre weren't just stars before. With this confession, they become a phenomenon, one of those rare pairings that transcend a single show. Casting directors take notes in moments like these. Producers start imagining projects built around the very pulse they've just revealed. Of course, none of this works without Cemre's presence in the story. While the headline belongs to his words, her response is the chapter everyone clung to next. People close to the set say her smile told the truth before any phrase could. Others insist she's felt the same for a while, that all she needed was the nudge of a public reality to let her step into it without apology. If you watched her recent appearances, you might have noticed the softness she wears now, like a secret that's finally allowed to breathe. And that's maybe the most romantic part. How two people move after a truth finally gets its name. Online, the swell was immediate. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, feeds turned into celebration halls. Within minutes, names climbed the charts: Gökberk, Yıldırım, Cemre, Arda, Surfer, Yalan. Accounts you've never seen suddenly had edits that could make you cry. Fan artists drew scenes we haven't watched, filling the spaces between episodes with imagined moments. The positivity, for once, drowned out the cynicism we've come to expect on social media. When a confession is this clean, it resonates. People want to believe in something that feels simple and brave. There's always the counterpoint: is this a carefully timed campaign? A calculated move? In entertainment, suspicion is a reflex. But here's the thing: both of them have avoided loud personal narratives for a long time. They didn't need a headline to keep the show hot. Yalan already owned its slot, and their performances didn't require extra fuel. Everything about the timing and tone suggests authenticity. He wasn't selling a plot twist. He was admitting a feeling. And the quieter their private choices have been up to now, the louder that authenticity sounds. If you're newer to the series, Yalan is the storm that won't pass. Two Istanbul families tangled by power and pride. At the center, Seyran, a fierce and self-possessed young woman, and Ferhat, the heir who learned to cover softness with swagger. It's a romance wrapped in intrigue, a clash that somehow always bends toward tenderness. The reason it works is simple: performances you believe. Gökberk and Cemre breathe soul into their scenes, finding warmth even in their characters' sharpest edges. Their gaze-to-gaze moments feel like truth, and now we know why they do. Think of what this does to how we watch. Suddenly, a hand held a second longer means more. A breath shared in silence means more. The playful scolds, the risk-filled confessions, the way Ferhat looks at Seyran like the room has no windows, more. Fans will comb through every episode with new eyes, discovering traces of a real story hiding in plain sight. Editors are already stitching reels that map this journey from auditions to this week's reveal. Behind the scenes, people say the crew felt the shift, too. A set thrives on trust, and when two leads move in step, everyone relaxes into a better rhythm. Directors love that sort of alignment. It's the kind of energy you can't buy, the kind you quietly pray for on a production that lives and dies on its central couple. Expect the upcoming episodes to lean into that chemistry, to give Seyran and Ferhat beats that hum with a little more air and a little more danger. But let's be honest, attention this bright can scorch. Pressure builds when love becomes public property. There will be cameras where there weren't, questions that have no right answers, and a chorus demanding more than two people should ever have to give. The way through is boundaries. If Gökberk and Cemre hold their center, share just enough, keep a quiet corner for themselves, they'll survive the wave. In fact, they'll surf it. Because the core of this story isn't fame, it's a feeling that refused to stay unspoken. Career-wise, the calendar is about to get crowded. Foreign press has its eyes on Turkish hits like never before, and Yalan is a title they pronounce with curiosity and admiration. Opportunities will arrive dressed as scripts, campaigns, film offers, even cross-border collaborations. If they choose wisely, they'll craft a path that keeps the artistry intact while letting this moment expand their world. The smartest move now is to pick projects that respect the audience who believed in them before any confession. How did we get here? Start at the first audition room. The story goes that a silence hung in the space when they finished their scene, one of those electric hushes where people glance at each other as if to confirm they all felt the same jolt. From there, rumors tumbled along. Stolen photos near set, careful denials, the coyness that comes from not wanting to ruin a good thing by naming it too soon. The fan ship Surfer became its own tiny planet, held together by edits and promises. And then, yesterday, today, right now, we're in the chapter where the feeling has a voice. Let's revisit the moment itself with a little more texture. He stood there, light softened, the chaos of an event dipping into a calm pocket. And he spoke in that even tone actors use when they're done acting. Simple words, steady eyes, a breath that seemed to release months of unsaid. It wasn't grand theater. It didn't need a stage direction. It was a truth stepping out of the wings. And somewhere across the room, Semra's expression shifted into something anyone could read, the quiet joy of being acknowledged without spectacle. Not everyone will cheer. Some will doubt, some will pick apart timelines, some will insist love is only real if it's explained. But they don't owe the skeptics anything. The work will speak, the days will pass, and those who wanted this to be a stunt will run out of angles. What remains will be the thing that made this matter in the first place, how beautifully they meet each other halfway. Meanwhile, Surfer continues to rise. The ship name has gone global, bouncing from language to language with the same affection. Fans are swapping theories, gathering clips, chronicling all the micro moments that now feel monumental. Watch parties are being planned like mini festivals. Artists are weaving saran and ferret into canvases that glow. There's a tenderness to it all that makes this feel bigger than gossip. It feels like a community celebrating a love story it helped sustain. So where do we go from here? Forward, with curiosity and care. The next episodes of Yalan will carry extra electricity, and not just because we're looking for it. This kind of relief, freedom replacing caution, changes performances in ways even actors can't predict. You'll see it in the smallest beats, the way a line lands, the hush between two words. And beyond the set, if you spot them in the city, in the blur of everyday life, let's hope the lens pointed at them is kind. However you slice it, this is a watershed. Fans have waited, guessed, debated, and finally exhaled. Gökberk Yıldırım's confession to Semra Arda didn't just tick a headline box, it shifted how we experience a series, how we see two artists, how we talk about the porous border between story and life. From the glow of saran and ferret to the warmth of Gökberk and Semra, the line didn't blur, it connected. If this is the first time you're hearing it told like this, welcome to the moment. And if you've been here all along, savor the win. Tell us what you think in the comments. Did you always sense it? How does this change the way you watch their scenes? Do you think this will tilt the arc of Yalan or simply enrich it? I read everything you send and love the way our conversations turn into their own kind of story. If you enjoyed this deep dive, send it some love, like the video, share it with your fellow fans of Gökberk, Semra, or Yalan, and make sure you're subscribed to Secrets Behind the Stars with notifications on. You being here is the reason we get to do this, and there's so much more ahead. Thank you for staying to the end. Take care of yourselves, and until the next chapter, keep your heart open to the stories that dare to become real.